on? Hello, welcome to the 40k Spy Center. I'm one of your hosts, Rob, and today we're going to be looking at the London Grand Tournament 2021 Invitational lists. Is what we're going to be doing. I'm joined by my co-host Tom for the show today. Hello, Tom. How are you?
I was shutting the window just when we went live, so I could
we
shout.
went live, and then you said, "I'm going to shut the window."
I didn't realize the countdown had started again. Let's go back. It's fine. Restart.
This is great. This is great.
How are you doing, Rob?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much. Very good. I'm very excited about. Very excited about next weekend. So next weekend, thanks Tom for resubscribing. You and me, as well as Nick, Declan, and a crew, including the gorgeous Tom. He's been upgraded from.
You call it a collar crew.
Yeah. We're going to be doing coverage of, we're going to be doing coverage of the Age of Sigmar event, but probably more importantly, we're going to be doing coverage of the 40k event. Now, there are two 40k events. There's the Invitational, which will be happening on the Friday, which we'll be doing coverage of, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. And then there's the Open with 800 players.
800 players?
800.
Oh. Okay then.
Quite big.
Nice. Yes. Yeah. Very good. Very good.
Yeah. Very large. So yeah, 800 players is what we're going to have in the Open, which is pretty phenomenal. And so you can't prep for something like that. You can look at meta breakdowns and other stuff, and we might do that next week leading up to the event. But you can't do that obviously. Before, but the Invitational is a very special event. So this is where select players have been chosen to play in a kind of a very small ladder match style setup, and we're going to be doing the coverage for that as well. So we'll also be doing the coverage for the Open, which is 5 rounds to qualify into a top 4, and then those top 4 are going to play into two. They're going to play in over 2 rounds. Which we'll also be doing coverage of. So we will be doing coverage of all 7 rounds of the Open, but we're also going to be doing coverage of 3 rounds of the Invitational. Tom, you've previously played in the Invitational, right?
Yeah. I played last year. Well, I say last year, we didn't really have it because of COVID, right? So I played the year before. That was kind of fun. Zach did the pairings on that one based off... but it was kind of like a weird show match thing, so it was different to how it was done this time. So we had a few spicy matchups in that one. I ended up playing Nick Brown. And he was playing his other Art of Warfare, and he was playing his Gene Stealer cult into my Knights, which is a horrible matchup for the Knights. And you can still go and watch a VOD, actually, see how that went. That was a really close game in the end, actually. Almost had him. Basically tabled his army. Had Knights that were remaining too. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with that one. That was good.
Well,
I played in the Open quite a few times as well. So I've come top 4 twice in that one.
In the Open.
In the Open, yeah.
So it's looking like it's going to be Europe's largest 40k event to date, and the largest 40k event since the LVO.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is honestly pretty exciting. I've been to the LVO, and I've been to Adepticon, and I've been to all those large events, and it's pretty overwhelming. So it's going to be quite interesting being there and also doing coverage. So looking forward to that. So if you guys do want to tune in next week, that's all going to be on the T-Sports Network Twitch. Tom and me are going to be doing coverage, I think, of the Invitational, and then Tom and Nick are going to be taking you guys through coverage of the Open, and maybe I'll chip in on the Sunday night. It's going to be a fun time. Scriv will be bringing you all the hot goss. So we're trying to make it as good as possible. Looking forward to that a lot. And so we've been working super hard on all of our background tech, which is very boring for an audience to understand, but it should be. It should be wicked.
It should pay off.
It should pay off, and you guys should have a good time.
I'm really looking forward to. We often talk about the differences between ITC games and WTC games, and the ITC games don't encourage us smashing.
Yeah.
But this event, I'm really excited to see how the meta is going to pan out, because I think we will see more of those kind of WTC lists, not because of any 20-0 scoring or anything that we have, but when you've got 800 players and you're narrowing it down to a top 4 at the end of 5 rounds. You've got 25 undefeated players. Only 4 of them are going to get through to the top 4.
So you're going to need 5 100s.
Pretty big. Yeah. So, there's a good chance that we're going to have an undefeated round on the stream. The guy wins, and let's say they win 85 points to 10 or something ridiculous. You say, well, that was a great game, but it's unlikely that this guy's going to make it into the top 4, because that's 15 points gone as far as you're concerned. You're not just playing to win the game. You're playing to take as many points for your opponent as you can. So I'm interested to see what everyone turns up with.
Yeah, me too. Me too. The meta is going to be very different, right? And we will be trying to bring you a breakdown of that information as time goes forward. For that, so it's going to be it's pretty fun. It's our first event, first event away from home pitch since we got locked down, and it's nice. It's a nice little bit of a prelude before we go and do things like. I mean, I'm sure we'll do some more 40k coverage before the WTC next year. I know that we're now booked in to do the Alpine Cup in Austria, which is the Austrian team championships. Yeah, just today we spoke to Ishik about that. So that's really exciting. So loads of event coverage coming up. So let's talk about the. Do you know what, Tom? Just jump in before we do anything else. Are you okay? How you been, bud? You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just tired, bro. It's weird being back in the normality
of life.
Which is kind of strange. Yeah. But it's fine. It's all good. Yeah. How about you? How are you doing? Are you feeling a bit better?
Yeah, great. Thank you. Yeah. So we didn't do the Spice Center last week because I wasn't very well. So apologies to everyone about that. We will be live again every Thursday. Although we probably aren't going to be live next Thursday because although maybe we'll do a Spice Center road trip edition. Because we'll be traveling.
If you have the mobile data, mate, we can make it work.
Yeah. Because we'll be.
I'm not spending my mobile data.
No, because we'll be traveling down to the LGT. It takes about half a day to most of a day to do setup. So we'll be starting at 6 a.m. Friday morning to start midday stream on the Friday for 40k. So it's going to be fairly intense. It's going to be like camping, intense. That's my first joke of the day. Loving that. So yeah, I'm doing good. How's the Twitch chat? Hope you're all well. Thanks for being here. Right, so let's have a look at this, shall we, Tom? And let's have a look at these matchups.
So what are we looking through today, Rob?
So we're looking at the invitational lists, but on the Honest Wargamer, not on the Honest Wargamer, sorry, on the tsportsnetwork.com, you guys can see there. We've already put out what the pairings are. So Scriver's done that for us. So big shout out to Scrivs, and we've seen what these matchups are going to look like. We've got Manny. And Mikey, as you guys can see there. We're going to talk about who the players are in a moment first, and then we'll talk about their lists. Coral Dawn, thank you for subscribing. We've got Nasim versus Alan. So it's Nasim Fushan versus Alan Perkins. Yep. We've got James Ramsey versus Steve Pardo, although Steve has dropped, so that's going to be updated. Yes. We'll talk about that in a moment. And then Malik versus James Grover of Goonhammer fame. So let's just talk about the drop first. So this invitational thing's a big deal. I think these 8 people get chosen, so Zach, who's organising the LGT, has chosen these people way ahead of time. And then Stephen, who based in Gibraltar, so he runs SN Battles. He wasn't able to attend. I don't know specifically the reasons, but he's dropped from it. So there's been a cute little thing, Tom, that's happened off the back of that. Do you want to tell us what it?
Yeah. So I think with Stephen, they're replacing him with someone. I'm not entirely sure. They haven't replaced him yet, but they're talking about replacing him with a bunch of other people. I know a lot of people are throwing their hats in the ring to try and replace Stephen in the Invitational. I think Ennis is one of those guys. I think Mark Crumblehome's one of those guys who are eager to go down and play. But we don't know who's going to be playing up against James Ramsey. So it might just be worth just going through James's list now. Just because it's not really a matchup, just to talk about there. Shall we do that?
In a moment. Let me just clarify for everyone. So what's happened is it's on Facebook. So I think it's maybe on the London Grand Tournament or on a Warhammer events or whatever it might be. What's happened is Zach has put it out to who does he want to play, and then it goes down to a people's vote. So people are voting on who they want to play in that particular matchup, which I think is Hey Cabbage. So I think that's pretty exciting. On who they're basically going to vote in, and I think it's quite a cool little touch. Honestly, I think it's quite fun. It's a bit of a shame that Stephen had to drop. I would like to see him play, but he won't be. Right. So lists. If you do want to talk about lists, we'll talk about these. I thought before we talked about the list, we might talk about the players just for a quick moment, Tom.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude, hell yeah. So
should we start at the top and start with Manny?
Yeah, let's do it. So Manny has been playing competitive 40k for a while. He came onto the scene similar time to I did, maybe a little bit later. He has a very big trophy cabinet. I've seen it above his store at Glasshammer Gaming. He owns the Glasshammer kind of brand. He does all the YouTube and streaming stuff there and the coaching service that they offer. He is a current defending world champion with Team England. He won that last time out in 2019 with them. And he's won pretty much everything for us to win, gaming-wise, for 40k. So he's a very, very strong player. He spends a lot of his time working on lists, which I think is more important than it's ever been these days. Just bringing a nails list is massively important, and he really commits himself to 40k. So yeah, I think he's one of the favourites for certainly the Invitational.
So yeah,
the Open's a little bit of a toss-up.
We've
yeah.
got some fun top trump cards done by our man Scrivo, which we will be using during the coverage, but you guys can see on screen now. If we just go through, Manny Chima there, like you say, from Glasshammer. Special weapon is submersible vehicles. I think that might be a reference to torpedoes. No.
It is, yes.
Submarines.
He's got a big old torpedo on him, yeah, and his hit rolling is very, very good. Manny's nickname on the circuit amongst mates is we just call him Jammy Manny.
Jammy Manny,
because he makes so many high rolls, like it's insane. But there's a reason for this, and that's what Manny goes for everything. So it's like if there's like a chance of an 11-inch charge, he'll just go for it. It's Manny. Yeah, maybe it'll work out. So he just goes for so many of these that more than the average player will go off, because he goes for these kinds of like aggressive plays sometimes. He's got a very individual play style.
Well, I think that maybe noted by his luck value of 97 on the top trumps card.
Exactly.
He's
passage of time being a weakness is very appropriate as well, because the way you beat Manny is literally a chess clock.
Yeah,
that's how you win.
That's what it says. His weakness is the passage of time. So it'd be interesting to see his game on the stream, because when the stream ends, he has to have finished.
He does. Yeah.
Innovation. So also innovation 91. An innovative player, like.
Oh right. So I've got a great example about this actually.
Yeah.
Do you remember that Raven Guard? What was it? Centurion list? We saw a lot of the last time we did our
coverage, yeah.
Our coverage. So basically, there's a lot of these people that buy coaching services, but they buy multiple. So they'll buy Art of War, they'll buy Glasshammer, they'll buy Vanguard, buy all of these, right? And the only one who was recommending them to do Raven Guard was Glasshammer and Manny. And what they were doing is they were taking this list that Manny had sent them with the Raven Guard and sending it to like the North American coaches.
Yep.
And all the North American coaches were kind of just like, what the fuck is this? This is shit. And then Manny just went out with this list and won a bunch of events with it. And they were suddenly like, oh, yeah, okay, I guess. So Manny is one of these guys who's out there creating original thoughts. Obviously, it's his job. He's got the time to do it. And yeah, he puts a lot of time into the game, and therefore he often creates lots of lists. And also, one of the biggest virtues of being like one of these players is being in a circle of players who can help you list build. Right, so if you're in like a group, let's say Team England, you've got Manny, you've got Ramsey, you've got the Roberts brothers, you've got Alex, you've got all these guys in this circle, just all list building together, and that really helps you get ahead of the game, especially when list building is so important as it is right now. And so he's able to create these cutting edge lists that you haven't seen before.
Yeah, like a couple of questions being asked in the chat. Yeah, I would agree. I was about to say, like, it's a bit. I literally got here. They are. I literally got my Squiggoth boys last week. And it already feels like the Orc Codex maybe has been not solved, but like there's already some like lists out there. Like I'm kind of already reading.
Some ideas.
Yeah, I'm already bored of reading about Manny winning with his vehicle list. So
his vehicle list.
A vehicle list. I don't know who. Hey, if he's the guy who wins with it, he's getting the props, right? Like, oh, fuck, that's not my fault. Stu Redacted, thanks for resubscribing.
Mate, not a 95. Okay. Right, that's why it's a 91, mate, and not a 95.
Big shout out, by the way, to Neil and Pizza Guardian. Both are in the chat. Big love to you both. I hope you're well. And you're all good. So that's Manny. Excited. So he's going to be playing up against Mikey Herbert. Vengeance for Sylvania. Thank you for subscribing. So there you can see he's up against Mikey in that matchup. Now let's talk about Mikey. Tom, what do you think?
I'm a big fan of Mikey. He hasn't been to a tournament since LVO 2019. Yeah. That was his last event, and he took Space Marines to that, and he's taking Space Marines here again. So he's taking the Iron Hands list that Alex Harrison won Hellstorm 5.1,
which is Mikey's event. So he hasn't been in an event, but he has been running several.
Yes, he has. So he's the guy from Hellstorm. He's the main guy at Hellstorm Wargamer.
Yeah.
The YouTube channel, they do battle reports. They also run tournaments and what have you. And they also stream. Now, what he is running here is pretty much
well, we'll talk about the list
carbon
after. I
copy
just thought we'd talk
stuff.
about the people first.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
we'll
fine.
talk about the people. So just his top trumps card. Let's read through it. Special weapon
Yeah, let's do
will
it.
dazzle and confuse and bamboozle you with his celebrity status and amazing hair. It's a big question. Who do you think has more celebrity status? Because this is kind of the battle of the e-celebrities, right? Mikey, very well known in the 40k community, makes some great content over on his channel, works super hard to put out really positive content, very memeable content as well. I think that's one of his like USPs. Yep. And he's up against Manny. They even had that big clash. Come on, this is a bit of a story. They did. It was the drama on the internet for over a week. There's no way that isn't a story. There's no way.
Most of the drama was done by other people on behalf of them. To be honest,
I agree, but it doesn't mean that they can't keep egging it on, right? Especially.
Okay, fine. Let's just keep egging it on. Yeah, they hate each other. Yeah.
Well, no, they actually
put it on the stream.
Put it on the stream
immediately.
So just to let everyone know what happened. Mikey ran an event. Manny was at the event. Manny was doing some submarine, which wasn't outside of the rules. Yeah, it caused the internet to have a kerfuffle. Both of those two players, both the TO as in Mikey and then Manny as the player, both had an adult conversation on Mikey's channel. I think you can go watch it on Hellstorm Wargaming. It's a really good conversation where they talked about like their feelings on the subject. You know, so they it's all buried. There isn't a drama.
Oh yeah,
but
it's fine. Yeah,
let there be a drama for the story.
I can create a bigger drama right now, Rob. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Scrivo has done personalized art for everybody, apart from Mikey, who has just ripped that off some other merch he's provided for Mikey. He hasn't even done a unique one.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yeah, disgusting.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Not even, he's only done 7 pieces of unique artwork. Yeah. Terrible. Not even committed.
It is well said. Thank you for subscribing. And he'll be playing at the Open, so expect to see him on the top tables towards the end. And then in his says what a beautiful Michael. Yeah, so his weaknesses are apparently risque jokes and demonetization. He always a edgelord joke away from
edgy boy. Yeah. He is an edgy boy.
Yes. Also very lucky, and his tactics are apparently quite high. Innovation though low, apparently.
I mean, he just plays Space Marines, doesn't he? I mean, sometimes he plays Eldar. so he doesn't really swap factions. He likes his boys.
Low.
Mate, he likes his Blood Ravens. What can we say?
I mean, we can't argue about that grudge match, right? That grudge match is going to be pretty sweet.
He has great taste in armies as well and how they look. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. All right, so that's matchup 1. So that's going to be pretty exciting. Now, I'm not certain if we know enough about these guys, so we'll try and talk about it. So the two players that we're going to talk about next, Nasim, Fushan, and I'm sorry if I got that wrong. I apologise. And then Alan Perkins. Now, I think Alan is Welsh, and I don't know anything about Nasim. So, Tom, do you know? Can you give Twitch chat?
I mean, I am going to be keeping an eye on Alan because he's got a Welsh-sounding name. Okay, and so I'm coming in hot. All right.
Okay.
Just because he sounds like a Welsh boy, I'm on it. Okay, that's fine. Both these boys are London-based.
Okay.
So Nasim was the guy who clocked out Manny in round 4 of the London Open.
Yeah.
A couple of months ago. I think that's why Zach's put them on the same side of a bracket.
I gotta say, we need a lot less London Open sort of names because it's a bit. It's not very specific.
I mean, I saw George in the comments for the Invitational saying, "Oh, we have far too many Northern boys here." Mate, I'm looking at the state of this list, but. Are you kidding me? Like, the number of Londoners in here, when the number of Londoners but be fit to polish my shoes is very low because they can't even hold a candle to my 6 skills, mate.
Well, so Nasim, I think, is also one of the younger lads. His special weapon apparently is the Vigor of Youth. And his weakness is he can't stand the heat. So maybe a little bit concerned about going up against a bunch of other top-end boys.
I'm going to be honest. I'm a little bit surprised he can't stand the heat when he's also giving everybody the forks in that
picture.
He's giving
it the real one. But our top trump card tells us that his tactics are very good. Interestingly,
Are they,
I don't know if
is that tactic used for
I
clock?
don't know if tactics are as good as strategy, but yeah, it could be use the clock, right?
Use the clock is a pretty good strat. I'm into it.
That works. That works for me. Yeah,
That's
so
funny.
that's Nasim. And again, if we don't, apparently Nasim loves Neil. We're finding out from that in the chat, so that's exciting. And then,
Yeah, I'm down for that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then Alan. Now we don't know tons about Alan, although he looks like a very happy guy in his pick. There he is. His special weapon is faith in the Emperor and the obsec that comes along with it.
But look at the size of that cheeser on that guy. Fucking hell.
Yeah, that fella has
That's a
definitely
big
been
one.
to Eton,
He's
or
very
he's been
pleased.
close to Eton, is all I'm going to say. Alan, loads of love. His weakness apparently is null zone. No idea what that means, but I assume loads of Terminators.
It means that it's the thing that removes you.
No, I know what it is. I know what it is. I don't. Dear God. Practicing for next week, are we, Tom? Hey, Tom, null zone. Tell me about that, please.
Hey, to be fair, when I see the comments for the Atlanta Open and everyone's saying, Nick, that was the most in-depth commentary that I've ever seen, and Nick's just like, yeah, this is what an objective is. I'm like,
honestly, that's the level. That's the level we're gonna. That's the level we're gonna pitch it at people. So these are objectives.
It's accessible.
Yeah, accessible.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know much about Alan. Does anyone know anything about Alun?
He is, by the sounds of it, I've done a bit of research before the show, like directly before the show. He won the London Open that Manny got clocked out at by Nasim. I think Nasim and Alan might have played him a final round, but I'm not certain. And he is a Custodes one trick by the looks of it, which is why he hates Null Zone. So he'll be, I'm sure, busting out the Custodes in both events for this one. He seems to like them very much.
Well, that's good. Alan, listen, good luck to you, buddy. So Alan versus Nasim in the young person grudge match, that one. Now, James Ramsey up against Stephen. Now, Stephen is gone, so James Ramsey is going to be playing the People's Champ, as you can see there. Now, I don't know much about, I know a bit about James Ramsey, but I know you know loads about James Ramsey. Talk to me about James Ramsey.
Yeah. So he used to be on the Welsh ETC team. And now he's on Team England. He's also a defending WTC champion with them. If I was to make an 8-man team to go and win the WTC of players from any nation, I think James would be one of the first names in my team sheet, just because he provides so much in terms of game knowledge, like rules depth. His practice mentality is insane. He's always playing TTS or playing IRL games. He's absolutely fantastic in the team environment. I really, really value James. So he's out here testing a rather unique list. So we'll get to see how that does. As he tends to do that. He tends to go to tournaments and just use them as mainly practice tools. Same as I do. So he'll take something interesting to an event, he'll see how it does, and then he'll evaluate it, put it on the side, and then play something new because he's just so on top of the game. I remember I played with him at the Belgian Team Championships that we came third at. I think we got the trophy just up there. And on the car ride back, we just finished the tournament. So we had no reason to be talking about 40k, but we just spent 2 hours just bashing off Tau ideas. And specifically Tau Crisis Soup Blob ideas. Just in Neither of us really play Tau. James's knowledge is so good of his book. Immediately, he knows exactly what's going on. So I really, really rate James. I think he's fantastic, and he's a great guy as well.
Do you think shoe in for taking out the Invitational?
I probably wouldn't bet on James to take out the Invitational because he does tend to experiment a lot, and I'm not sure how his list does into the field. But if James won it, it wouldn't be a surprise to me at all because he is a super, super good player. But I don't think if I was placing my money on someone to win this event, I don't think the Invitational, it probably wouldn't be James. But if he did, it wouldn't be a surprise.
Okay. Very interesting, very interesting. His special weapon is understands your list better than you do. His weakness is will probably tell you how to use it in order to beat him. That's a shame. His luck is only a 2, though, out of 100. But experience 82. Innovation 99. What a top drop.
It should be 100.
Should be 100. Wow. Okay, let's go James Ramsey. Excited about that. So he currently is going to be playing the People's Champ. And then finally, Malik Amin Rubio, I got that right, versus James Grover is our last matchup, as you guys can see there.
Yeah, man.
Now, what do you know about these two people? We'll start with Malik.
Malik, do you remember a couple of years ago where Yanari took out every single major event the entire month in the UK? So there were 3 major events. So it was Blood and Glory, which was won by me.
Yep.
There was Glasshammer, and then there was another one. And all three of those events were won by a different Eldari player or Yunari
Yeah.
player. Malik was one of those three players. So Malik is known for his innovation specifically on Craft Worlds. He's a very, very competent and solid Craft Worlds player. He's also another one of these London guys. And he had a spell in 2018, I believe, where he was just like smashing every event he'd attend. And when he went 3-2 at the LGT last year, he considered that like a failure, which, I mean, given his field, it's understandable, but it just shows you the mentality of this guy. He competes very heavily in everything that he does. He's a really good salsa dancer, I believe it is, or it might be a different.
He's a good salsa dancer. How's that going to become relevant in
very
competitive
good dancer,
40k?
yeah.
Tom, like,
what I mean is, like, you see a lot of these guys in competitive 40k who have been competitive in other fields and then just applied that same mentality to 40k, and they just change disciplines. Like Boxy, for example, competitive bodybuilding, competitive volleyball, Porter, competitive cricket. Me, I'm just shit at everything.
Bruce Lee was
Malik,
a competitive cha-cha dancer before he became a martial artist.
Yeah, there you go.
Interesting.
There you go. It's that mentality, dude. It's that mentality, dude. So, you know, I trust him to know what he does.
Focus. So well done, Malik, on being, you know, generally fantastic. So he's up against James Grover. Now, pretty big news getting the Goonhammer guys front and center. How do you?
That's a harsh picture of James, by the way. Holy fuck, Scrivo, you don't make him dirty.
That's how he looks, I think.
Why does he look evil, mate?
Because he's done Goonhammer, the most evil website. They tell you facts. They don't hide from feelings. Yeah, they're like, oh, this is shit, and they make you know it. They competently inform. Data is scary, Tom. Based on everything I know about the world,
people don't like data.
From the past 2 years, like people do not like fucking facts. They like feelings only. So his special weapon has the entire archive of all Goonhammer content memorized word for word.
I mean, I have to say I'm pretty offended by that luck 4 score, because when I last played him, I fired an entire night army at a plane and didn't kill it. Turn 1.
Well,
I don't know, James. You maybe work hard for that win, buddy. It's purely off that bit of luck. So, you know, this is an ITC as well when I had first blood and I need to kill something every turn. It's disgraceful.
And his weakness, can't see the wood through the trees, dense cover. So obviously this is James, who's I don't know if he's one of the founding members of the Goonhammer crew.
He is. I believe he is. He's definitely one of the founding members, if not the main guy. Who runs that website. I've played James. He was a good laugh. I like him, and he does a lot of interesting, like, unique shit. Like, he took a Wraith Knight to fucking Blood and Glory for the banner. He has, like, he'll just take little odds and ends rather than his list, like, development style is very, very different to how I build lists. But I find that interesting, so I like to see how he does, just to keep tabs on him. And he's a good lad. I like him.
Hey, that's exciting. So that's thank you to Red NEUK for subscribing. That's very much appreciated. Okay, so that's our final matchup. Now we're gonna talk about the lists right now. So we'll start with Manny versus Mikey, shall we? Or do you want to do James first because he's against no one?
No. We'll do Manny versus Mikey.
Manny versus Mikey. Okay, I'll go find the lists for you guys.
Mate, you don't have to read the Manny one. It's just make bullshit.
Well, I want to read it for the audience. Let's read it for the audience.
Know what any of this means.
Okay, so Manny Chima. Manny Chima has got.
You read it out, mate.
No, you read it out, because honestly, I don't know what the.
You can't.
I don't want
me under the bus.
I don't want to read it. It's such a nightmare.
You can't do this.
Where's one of them Better Watch articles? It just says like 4 words. Yeah, lots of dudes.
It is, I mean, lots of dudes is accurate. It's like fucking Ram Ranch over here. Holy shit. All right, fine. Okay, so he's got a Manipulus as his first HQ with a bunch of shit. So I mean, these lists will be out on the fucking stream. Do I have to read everyone?
No. I'll do the read, right? So he's got a Manipulus and he's got a Skitarii Marshal. The Marshal's obviously super important in that list. Yeah, he's got the 3 lots of Skitarii Rangers, and they're all in 20s. So it's a big horde. It's an 850 point detachment, and it's Lucius. Right, and then he's got the Mars Patrol detachment with the Marshal, another 20 Rangers, and he's got those 2 pretty at this point like famous Archopter Stratoraptors.
Stratoraptors. They're the big gun ones.
Yeah.
So he's got 3 Stratoraptors in total in Mars detachments, and he's got 2 Fusilavs in those as well. So he's got 5 planes. Yeah. So his main adversary,
and importantly, he's got 100 and it's 60. No, he hasn't.
He's only got
he's got 100 Skitarii.
Oh, 80. Oh, 100.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100.
there's number 20.
Yeah.
Of course he does. Yeah. So this one is he's cut down about 60 dudes and he's added in a bunch of planes. That's about it from his standard list. It's very difficult to chew for a lot of his stuff, especially the 60 Skitarii Rangers, and you can't really hide from it either. And in Shallow Dawn of War deployment, it's even worse because you can get 38-inch range on these guys, deep striking down, and then just hitting whenever they want, and normally killing it, especially on LGT boards. It's got a very mean alpha on it. But it's also quite resilient to being alpha itself, because if you lose a plane, it's not a massive deal. You've still got 100 dudes just walking around being dickheads. But equally, if you come down, you start killing some of the dudes, you're not going to kill the planes, and the planes hit like a bus as well. So it's a very strong list. I think he's taking this with an eye on the open as well, trying to get those big meaty scores by just whacking people immediately.
Yeah, interesting. He didn't bring, or I don't know if Orcs was actually allowed at the event. I don't know if he's going to do.
So Orcs is, but I believe the really cheap HQ choice on the Squig isn't, because it doesn't have a model,
right? Yes.
And therefore you can't bring it. So I think he was considering Orcs at one point, but I think it's also a little flippy, and it doesn't necessarily guarantee you 100 points. And in order to win the event, you need to be getting in that top 4, which means you need to score big points, which is why I think he's gone for the AdMech.
Yeah, well, that would be in the open. This is in the Invitational.
Yeah, he's still got to bring the army, though, doesn't he? So rather than bringing 2 armies, he just brings 1 and plays them both.
Yeah, 100%. And again, it's so much output. Like, it's a lot of bodies, but it's also a lot of output. And also, the interesting point is the terrain is slightly different to maybe how terrain has been played. Maybe in like denser boards. I would say the LGT board is slightly less dense. I'd say 10 to 20% less dense than maybe you've seen previous boards. So I actually think that those hundreds are going to come quite simply to lists that are able to do this volume of output, which I think that this list is going to be able to do.
Yeah.
All right.
100%.
So that's
100%.
So that's Manny's list. Then Mikey's list. Was Mikey gone for?
So he's gone for the Iron Hand Successor, which is, as I say, basically a carbon copy of the List Alex 1 Hellstorm Chainsaw or Bowler with whatever. He has got Iron Hand Successor, Master Artisans, Whirlwind of Rage. He's then got a Lieutenant, a squad of 5 Incursors, just to deny the forward deploy, and then 1 squad of 3 company veterans, very important for later. You've got 1 squad of 3 suppressors for shooting and jumping around, and 2 squads of Devastators, and they've got 3 multi-melters and a grav cannon in each, and then you've got the Armorium Cherub, so you've got the grav cannons, so you've got the option of double firing that as well, plus giving it a 2+ to hit, which is pretty good. And then they go in the drop pod, so they come down and they're very, very hard hitting when they do so. He's then got a squad of 5 Blade Guard veterans, Tech Marine, 2 Invicta Warsuits for the forward deploy if you want it. I mean, he's gone for 2 Relic Contempted Dreadnoughts, so one of which is the character, so you're basically blocking that with the company veterans. You have the forward deploy, making it very hard to pick it out anyway. And then finally, he has made a slight tweak, and he's taken a squad of 5 Vanguard veterans, and they basically just jump around his backboard doing actions for him and acting as a countercharge. And he's got a Sikaara and Arcus as well, just for picking things off. Now, I actually played against Mikey the other day with this, and I got to alpha him, and it still won the War of Attrition. So it's really, really good in terms of its resiliency.
Where does the resilience come from?
So basically, you still got to chew for a lot. So the Contempted Dreadnoughts are really, really hard to kill if you don't have -1 if you don't have like a damage 3 or more profile and a good AP value. You're gonna take a while to chew through those. The Invicta Warsuits are 160 points. They're still quite hard to kill as well. We've got 14 wounds. They've got the Feel No Pain. You can forward deploy them into a ruin, make it really hard to dig them out, and you can't really charge them either, because if you do and you don't get them, you're just going to get whacked. They hit very, very hard. So you don't get to kill too many units. And also, while you're doing that, you have to be careful of the drop pod dropping down, because if it drops down turn 1, it can really, really hurt you. So you have to be very careful to how you approach this list. But also, you can't just stand off it, because it just will beat you in a War of Attrition. The question, Ben, is can Manny do enough damage in the first couple of turns to Mikey to win that War of Attrition? If you can't, then Mikey might be able to grind him out. But equally, I would suspect that Manny has enough bodies, and the turn 1 deep strike would probably give Manny the edge list-wise here, just because he can get further up that board. If Mikey gets turn 1, I think he has a chance, just because he would need to play super aggressively.
Can't the Warsuit screen out the troops quite a bit?
He can, but got a 38-inch range.
The troops?
Yeah. From a deep strike. That's the issue I was having. This is the issue I was having.
What? Okay, all right.
Yeah. Well, I was playing with a camera ever like
I
do shit. These
cannot
guys are playing
wait to do the Invitational coverage. I'm going to be like, what the fuck is that doing?
Mate, I need to get Overrun. I need to find out where the objectives are in Overrun because I know Overrun is a shallow deployment, so it's like old Dawn of War. So it's like you're deploying along your longboard edge 10 inches in. So good luck screening that far out, mate, because there's a 6-inch gap at the back of your opponent's deployment zone where he can't hit you. So if you screen out that far, you're probably doing okay. Also, a couple of bits of the terrain aren't obscuring.
Yeah.
So we'll clarify that as we go live with the games. Just so we can show you what is hidden and what isn't.
Hey, I'm excited for this match. Mikey and Manny, both lovely guys. Yeah, and I'm quite excited to watch both of them go mano a mano and settle the internet debt. This is quite fun. It sounds like we need a promo video. If I'm
mano a mano or Manny Manny.
Manny a Maiko. I don't think any of that is effective. Tom, it doesn't matter. We can approach it later.
No, it's fine. I'm just getting this out for later. Okay. It's just because it is important.
Right. So the next matchup is Nasim Fushan versus Alan Perkins.
Alan Perkins.
Yeah. So Nasim versus Alun.
Oh look,
Alan.
It's this list.
Alan.
Bullshit.
So let's go find these lists. Hold on.
I've got Nasim's here.
So I'm looking at Nasim. Yeah, I'm just showing it on the screen. So Nasim's list. Iron Hands again. It's fucking crap. It's like 8th edition.
Again. What a great list.
What a fucking boring.
Yeah. The more things change, the more things stay the same.
Talk to me about what's in the list.
All right, so basically it's similar to Mikey's, but he's moved units around, so it's harder for me to read it. So he's got my mouse has gone wild. So he's got a lieutenant to start with. He's gone for Iron Hand successor with Whirlwind of Rage and Born Heroes. That's fucking ass layout. Holy shit. Lieutenant, he's got an infiltrator squad rather than the incursion squad, so that's a slight upgrade in points cost there. But what that allows you to do is you can't deep strike anywhere within 12 inches of the infiltrators, I believe. He's got the small squad of company veterans again. He's got a Redemptor Dreadlord this time though as well, so he's got an extra Dready in there. And then you've got 2 squads of Devastators. One is in this detachment, and there's another one in the detachment below. But he's flipped it. So he's gone for 3 Grav Cannon and 1 Multi-Melter, rather than 3 Multi-Melter and 1 Grav Cannon. So it just shows you what the priority is on each of these squads in terms of how you're building them. He's also gone heavily into the Vanguard veteran squads as well. So you've got 3 squads of 5 there rather than the 1 squad of 5. So I feel like he's going to be getting a little bit more aggressive with those. He's still got the Dreadnought, although he's only got 1 Relic Contemptor and 2 Redemptors rather than 2 Contemptor Dreads. And he has also got a second squad of company veterans just to safeguard that single Contemptor Dread a little bit better. He has got Protect Marine as well. He's got the single Land Speeder Storm just floating around. But he does lose out on the Sikaran. So that's where the points have gone. He's also added in a couple of squads of Eliminators. So you've lost the Sikaran, got some Eliminators, upgrade your Incursors to bloody, what are they called? Infiltrators. You've added in a couple of Storms, and then you've added in a couple of mini squads of Vanguard.
It's quite interesting watching, having seen these Vanguard vet units that used to, as far as I'm aware, they used to be 10s, right? Like they were consistently 10s. Yes, I don't know at what point over time they slowly started to drop into 5s.
I feel like people think that you can. It's more valuable to just have the little units running around that are kind of irritating, and it's more of a trading game now. I think we developed more into 5s when Drukhari dropped specifically, and that was also when Drukhari dropped was also like the pinnacle of Sisters, and it was very much about this is a trading game now. It's not about hitting your opponent as hard as you can, which is what it was when.
Or they trade better. Because they trade up, right? Because they're like a small, cheaper unit,
exactly,
and they trade into your 10 way stronger. So you do.
Yeah.
So you go 5-5-5 basically, or 5-10-5 against that 10.
Okay. Yeah. So you split them down. You've got the little units to trade better because the game evolved into more of a trading game rather than a hit people hard or you stand there for long enough in the center kind of game. It was a bit more about trading. So I feel like that's the reason why we've now gone towards the 5-man squads over the 10-man. Although you could still do that if you wanted to, but I don't think that's where the meta is right now. I think the meta is more about lobbing as many little units of OBSEC or just OBSEC units into your opponent's face as you can, living for as long as you can, which is partly why you go for the MSU because if you have a big squad of 10, you just focus all your guns into that. Whereas if you've got 2 squads of 5, you need to declare which gun is going where. So therefore, you're probably going to lose some wounds or some shots in the process when making those shots because you'll overkill or underkill something.
Okay, agreed. Next up, Alan, and thanks to Dude for sending us the link for Alan's list. I need to go find it. Stephen is no longer playing. Let's go find
Yep.
ourselves Alan's list. Come on, Alan.
Yes.
What is he?
He's right at the top because he's got a name.
Oh, yeah.
Alan Perkins. I can read it out now if you want,
Please
mate.
do.
I've got
Please
it.
do. I'm just going to show it on the
Hell
screen.
yeah. So, as we already have alluded to, it looks like he's a Custodian's one trick. So he's taking Custodians.
Why is a Custodian one trick? What's going on there?
Because he only plays Custodians.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fine. All right, Alan. Yeah, Alan, you got called out. Yeah, you got fucking
Custodian.
called
No,
out,
that's not
Alan.
a
I
fault.
can't wait to see it at the LGT. You're one trick. Yeah? Fucking step up, Alan. Yeah?
I've been telling my own teammates to be more one tricky because like I've actually been having this conversation, like how valuable is it to have people that specialize in a faction?
Yeah. Pardon me, say that again.
I think it's really valuable in 40k now because the game moves so fast you physically can't keep up.
I think it's better. I think I plan to only stick with my orcs. Although I got 100%. Super tempted the other day to potentially play Harlequins again, but I was like, no, Rob, no. Just orc that bad boy up because the model range is fairly low, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway,
yeah,
so Alan in his one trick life, yeah. What's he got?
This wasn't meant to be a diss, but you're just making
it sounds like a diss. I'm on Alan's side on this one. Like I'm trying to make Alan own it now. He's going to walk up like, all right, Tom, I'm the one trick. Yeah.
Well, if he's Welsh, I'm going to offer him the position. So, he'll take it.
Okay,
it's fine. So he's taking Shadow Keepers, which is the shield host that allows you to have the access to the stratagem. It gives you -1 strength on gun shooting at Shadow Keepers unit. He's got a shield captain on Donia jet bike. He's got the Auric Quellis, which is a 3+ vulnerable save and reroll charges. He's got Indomitable Constitution, which is +2 wounds to the thing. And then he's gone for the salvo launcher on that and Superior Creation for a 5+ DPR. He's then gone for a second shield captain on Dorgan, the Eagle jet bike, with the Eagle's Eye, which I believe is the other 3+ invulnerable save, the Lock Warden, Misericordia, and 10,000 Heroes. And he's gone for 2 squads of 3 Custodian Guard and 1 squad of Sagittarium Custodians, which are basically they're similar Custodians, but they have longer range guns. They're quite good, actually. I played against them the other day. Quite value those. And they're only 10 points more expensive than regular Custodians, so not a bad choice at all. So that's immediately a lot of very durable obsec, and a lot of it's quite fast. And we were talking about this the other day because I took a list down to play with you guys. They did a similar thing. He's then gone for a little bit more firepower here. So that's basically the securing side of the list, with the exception of the prosecutors who are there but to just hold backfield objectives because they're really cheap and compared to all the other Custodians units you can take. They're just of silence equivalents as far as I'm aware. And then he's also got the banner, the Vexless Praetor. And what this does, it gives you -1 to hit units within the bubble. But what it also does, it allows you to use a stratagem where when you deep strike, you can use strat calls from the golden throne they came, but allows to deep strike entirely within 3 inches of this banner. And you don't have to be more than 9 inches away from an enemy unit. So if you get that banner up the field quickly, you can deep strike within 3 inches of it and then charge something really, really consistently,
nice.
which is quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then heavy hitting, you've got a bunch of Venatari Custodians. They are the flying boys. Yep.
Gold wingmen.
Aren't on bike. Gold wingmen, yeah, they're like Brian Blessed in Flash Gordon.
Love that film.
That's what they are.
Love that film.
Yeah, I'm glad we've both seen the film. Fucking hell.
First time ever on a 40k show you've both seen a film ever.
Got some fast obstacle with the salvo launchers in terms of the 3 Virtus Praetors, and then you got the Telemon Heavy Dreadnought coming down as well. So I would expect the Contemptor Galatus to be going in deep strike most games.
It's fun that there's going to be a Galatus on the board. That's a cool model, right?
Not for turn 2, but yes. But yes, it is a cool model. It's the I think you had one.
Yeah, I used to have one. Shield and sword.
Yeah, man. That's going to be good. I'm looking forward to seeing that. That's going to deep strike. I mean, he's not going to do the deep strike and extra banner every game, but it's a nice little trick to have. So
what's the dreadnought in there to do? It's just good. It's like, does it have a role? It's just like it's in there.
Is this the Telemon Heavy or the Galatus?
I guess both. I guess is my question.
The Telemon shoots right good, and the Galatus is scary as fuck. Especially if it comes down, it makes that charge because it is a very durable piece of ass. Like, it's a pain in the ass to remove. And if it gets a 9-inch charge into your lines, it's not just a problem because it might charge you and fuck some shit up. It's a problem because it's really hard to get rid of when it's there.
Because is that Dreadnought a toughness 7 Dreadnought? Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, but the Telemon is the Telemon's an 8.
Yes, Correct.
Yeah. Telemon's an 8. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's pain in the
So,
ass.
thanks Off the Shelf Hobby, by the way, for subscribing. So, one of the things we haven't talked about, Tom, now we've looked at Nasim and Fushan and Manny versus Mikey. Who do you think's taking it? Twitch chat, I need it from you. Tom, who do you think's taking it?
I mean, they're both my boys, so they both know it's not personal, but I've got to go Manny. I think the list is a good matchup in that mission for Manny.
Okay, that's fine. See what the Twitch chat is saying. And while that's happening, Tom, let me know what your thoughts are on Nasim versus Alan. If you are watching us on YouTube, hit us with your thoughts as well down below. Nasim versus Alun. The Custodies versus the Iron Hands, right? Iron Hands feels like it'll try to trade, but it won't trade super well.
I'm going to surprise you. I think I'm going to go for the Iron Hands.
Oh, okay. Interestingly.
I think the Iron Hands win. And the reason why I think the Iron Hands win isn't because I dislike the Custodies list, but I think that if the Iron Hands go first, it's worse for the Custodies list than it is for the Iron Hands if Custodies go first.
Okay.
Just because of the way the terrain works. I don't think the Custodies list hits super hard initially. I think it can hit okay. I think he's got tools that can deal with it. I think it's 60-40 favoured the Iron Hands.
Interesting.
Personally. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, shout out. So okay. Interesting. I don't honestly not got dog in any of the races. That
does mean though, mate.
What?
If I'm right, if I'm right, that means Manny plays Nasim.
It does.
That's spicy.
And that's another spicy matchup. It's almost like he intended to make that happen. Boy. Yeah. Right?
Maybe.
I would almost say that he set the spice up on purpose.
Not again.
Right, so James Ramsey, the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah.
Now, he's not up against Stephen Pardo anymore. We're not sure who he's going to be playing. But let's look over his list, shall we?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Are you ready, Rob, for some spice?
Okay, I'm ready for it. Yeah, go for it.
You know how I said that James likes to experiment? Yeah. Well, how do you feel about experimenting with old school Black Templars?
I think it's a mistake, but I'd like to know if that's wrong.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's have a look. So he is taking old school Black Templars. He spent some extra CP for extra relics as well. He's got the Apothecary, giving it a bunch of stuff. He's got some cheapo servitors. I mean, he's got the mini squad of company veterans that we've already seen. Except it's a slightly smaller squad. It's only got 2 guys. But he's got a captain on bike. He's got one named shouty boy named Grimaldus. And then he's got a one unnamed shouty boy who just drives his bike around. So that's 2 chaplains. And then you've got 3 minimal squads of Crusaders. You then have 2 squads of 5 Blade Guard vets. And then you have the squad of 5 Terminator Assault Marines. And then 3 squads of 5 Vanguard vets with the Storm Shields. And 1 Landspeeder Storm, mate. And that is the entire army.
Wow.
It's all gone. Okay. Now, Black Templars, for those of you who don't know, have access to a chapter tactic that gives them, they can reroll advance and charge rolls. So often you see people going Blood Angels with Vanguard vet lists. You see people going Space Wolves, that's for +1 to hit, +1 to wound. And then what's going to end up happening here is, right, you're giving that extra hitting power up for more consistent hitting power.
Okay.
So he's around the board quite a lot. I mean, obviously, he's got quite a few durable units in there. So you've got the Terminator Assault Squad, and then 2 squads of Vanguard vets.
3 squads of Vanguard vets?
No, sorry, the Blade Guard vets. Right. Sorry. No, that's my fault, I misspoke. But if you look at his list, mate, his 3 most expensive units, mate, are just a bit more expensive than everything else.
Oh, the captain on the bike.
Oh, it's mate. You've got the 2 Blade Guard veteran squads. So they're 175 each.
Yeah.
So there's more than the captain on the bike at 160.
Yeah.
And then he's got the Terminator Assault Marines.
Right. Okay.
So the last to be pretty much instantly. And Gitley, it's not a buy. They're going to be getting another player in. James will be playing in the first round.
Okay. Interesting. So you think he's not going to give up any points from the last?
I think he's quite good at his secondaries. He can spread around the board quite nicely. He's got lots of little units. He's got a lot of screening as well. His to the last is very, very difficult to get. He will have access to Oath of Moment as well, which if you go second, actually, he still plays second quite well. And he doesn't actually have too much to hide, so he's quite good on these boards. Like, you look at the actual terrain on these. Even the non-obscuring ruins, he can hide in these. He's only got little squads. He doesn't have a big footprint, and he doesn't have any big models either. And even when he loses stuff, he's got the Apothecary running around. He's got Grimaldus, and he's got the Chaplain on the bike as well. So he's quite quick. He plays Engage very, very well. He plays Banners very, very well if you want to do that. Rod is okay too. He plays to the last very, very well, so he's got a lot of options with his secondaries. I mean, if he goes second, I mean, if he needs to coin flip it based on oath, he can do that too. So yeah, he's got a decent list. I think that could be okay.
Okay, that's pretty exciting. Okay, that's James. So it's going to be James in the first round, and our final matchup: Malik versus James Grover. Now you did say James is going to bring something pretty unique, or like he might switch it up. I don't know if he has. We'll look at Malik's first. If you've got Malik's list, or I can try and read it out for you if you want. It's another Mechanicum list that we see here, and again it's Lucius, and he spent a bunch of CP ahead of time, right? Archaeotech Specialist, Artefactum, Host Intermediary, Mechanicus Locum. So he spent like, what, 4 CP before he's even started, which is pretty significant. And then he's got that Scutari Marshal, the Manipulus, and then he's got 18 Rangers twice. And then he's got those Infiltrators, so he's got 6 of those.
Yep.
And then his next detachment, is it Mars? No, Imperium? No. No, it's Mars, sorry. Is another Manipulus with 18 Scutari Rangers, and then he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Iron Strider Ballistaris with those twin Cognis las cannons, and then he's got the 10 sterilizers, 9 sterilizers, which are the flying wing Scutari, and then 6
they are, yeah.
6 Cerberus Raiders, and then 2 Archaeopter Stratoraptors. You get a lot of stuff in this book, right?
Oh, mate. I just like looking at the top of his list and seeing the number of times the word stratagem appears before you even see a unit.
Quite a bit.
Like, that's insane to me. I love it. Yeah, quite a bit. So he's dropped quite a few of the Rangers. He's dropped, I believe he's dropped a few of the planes as well, compared to Manny's list, and he's taken the 6 Ballistari, which means I think he's gearing to play Iron Hands. The Ballistaris are so consistent. When you're shooting those things, like I really rate those, but equally it's like, what are you giving up? There's so many good options in this book. You're giving up the ranges, you're giving up the planes. Can you really justify that? So as we say, AdMech is a very, very deep book. Also, X101 is the AdMech character from, I believe, the Shadow Spear. It's one of the boxed games. So it's just a very, very cheap release slot. Very, very efficient for your points there. 25 points for a single unit is always pretty decent just for that MSU. So again, we're seeing the AdMech come out for a player who hasn't traditionally played them, although he did play them at the Gibraltar GT where he played Manny. And I think we can see this coming out again just because Malik is looking for that top 4 slot. He needs those big wins. And it's just tooled for a slightly different meta. So we'll see if that works out for him.
Okay, exciting. Very, very exciting. And then finally, our last list, James Grover.
Yeah, so speaking of one tricks, he can't stop playing Craft Worlds, can he? He can't do it. He can't do it to himself. So James is out here again with his Craft Worlds. He's going for the custom and Crafts World attribute, which at this point isn't very custom because it's the one you see on every single Craft World list. And it's Expert Crafters, which is reroll 1 to hit and to wound roll every time you fire a gun or punch someone in melee. And it's got Masterful Shots, which is ignore the benefits of cover. So specifically, that doesn't work when firing through trees. You still take the -1, but you remove the bonus to your save when shooting against units. So he's got the Farsi with Doom and Executioner. That's pretty standard. He's then got 2 squads of Dark Reapers. The Exarchs in one of these actually has Rapid Shot, which gives him an extra shot with his Reaper Launcher. And then the other one has Rain of Death, which is reroll number of shots when firing the Tempest Launcher, which I prefer the extra range, but it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. He's then got a Falcon in there, and now the Falcon will be there because it's a transport. It's similar to how I'm using my Wave Serpent. So my Wave Serpent, what I do is I take my 3 squads of Dark Reapers and my 3 characters, and I lob them in Wave Serpent because then they can't get alphaed on. This Falcon's doing the same thing. The Falcon has a transport capacity of 6, so I would expect the 2 squads of 3 Dark Reapers going straight in that transport. That's not going to be an issue. He's then got the 2 Night Spinners, very, very consistent horde removal, and they ignore line of sight, and they have 2 damage. They just hate Dreadnoughts, that's all it is. And then speaking of he can't get away from the Craft Worlds, well, here's some Drukhari mixed in just to make it a little bit better. So he's got Drazhar and an Archon, both very, very efficient choices. The Cabalite Troop Bonner in there as well with 2 blasts in the Darklands, which is kind of what you expect. This has been written on Battlescribe, so I'm trying to read it, and it's a pain in the ass. He's got 2 squads of 5 Incubi, 1 squad of Scourges, which are the big winged boys that drop down, and then 2 Raiders and 2 Venoms. Now, I actually kind of like Venoms. I think Venoms are pretty underrated. They're a little bit expensive for my liking. They're not as efficient as Raiders, but they are. If you're looking to do the job of Raider, you can do the same thing with Venom for slightly cheaper if you need to. If you don't mind losing out on some of the extra expert transport capacity. So yeah, Venoms are all right. So it's got a lot of peeling here as well. Then you've got the extra succubus, you've got the Hecatrix Blood Brides, which I think are a bit overrated personally, but it's effectively the same job that you'd use a squad of Hellions for, and a squad of Mandrakes, which are effectively free engage or rod points if you're going for that. So yeah, I don't know how I feel about the hitting power of this list, but again, it's got a lot of trading in there, a lot of fast moving stuff. It should be contesting with boards quite well. Should be okay.
Interesting. Do you think it'll play well into that horde? Do you think that horde? Do you think one of the reasons the Skitarii horde has done so well is because it's fairly unique? Like there aren't many horde lists out there at the moment, right?
No, there aren't really. I feel like Eldar can do okay into it, uh, if they go first, but I don't know if James has the hitting power to really punish that list if he goes first. I think there's a little bit too much, personally. Uh, if he goes second, I think the game is doomed immediately. I think he loses his Night Spinners. I think he loses his, or at least one of them. And a Falcon potentially. So two of his free tanks are immediately dying. He's going to lose a lot of his mobility as well. He can't really hide from the deep striking troops. I think if he goes second, the game is doomed. I think if he goes first, I think he has a very, very slim chance if he highballs out of his ass and kills all of the las cannons, because the one thing that the infantry have issues with are the vehicles. So if you can remove all of the ballistari, then maybe you can start making some more room with these vehicles and actually getting efficient use out of them, consistently firing them out. But that does mean you have to give up your Dark Reapers. So you're going to take the Dark Reapers out of the Falcon. You're probably going to push a Falcon up. You're going to try and kill as many of these las cannons as you physically can. It's possible because he does have the Raiders. But again, I think it's worse for James if he goes second than it is for Malik. So I'm going to probably go for Malik on this one.
Okay, Malik. Okay, so Tom's predictions are Malik through, James obviously through, but we'll see. He thinks Alan versus Nasim. I think he thinks Alan's taking it, and he thinks Manny's taking it in that top one. So that's quite exciting. You will be able to tune in next Friday on the T Sports Network, twitch.tv/T Sports Network, to watch it all. So that's going to be unfold before our eyes. So get ready for that. I'm looking forward to that. I hope you guys are looking forward to it too. The Open, Tom. I guess this is kind of the other question. Not players, but there are three dominant factions at the moment in the in 40k. If we go and look at the stats, ignoring Orcs because Orcs are in a weird place, obviously with releases and stuff. But Sisters of Battle, Mechanicus, and also. Obviously Drukhari. Do you think there's an opportunity for anyone other than those three to take it out?
I don't think there's an opportunity for Sisters to take it out.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for this is, it's not that I don't think Sisters are good, but I think that Sisters will struggle to win 100 points every single round.
Very interesting.
So therefore, I think they'll struggle to make top 4. Admech can, but they need to... And they need a very specific set of circumstances to do so.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean it's impossible. I think Sisters can do it. But I don't believe Robbo is going to be playing Sisters. And Robbo is the premier Sisters player that I know of right now from my circles. I never want to call someone the best player of the world, but I know that Robbo is on a massive streak, and obviously I interact with a lot of different communities around the world. And so therefore I'm qualified to talk about it. Because I actually don't fucking forget that 40k exists past the oceans of my country. So, unlike some. So, yeah, I think if anyone can do it, it's probably him. And especially with this field, because it's so different to tell. Like, it's different to judge a 5-0 at the LGT compared to a 5-0 at any other UK major, where you're going to have to play like 2 or 3 WTC experienced players to win that event. Whereas at this one, you're going to be. There's a good chance you get to that, end of round 5 as 25 undefeated players. You haven't had to do that, so it's a little bit of a toss up. But if I had to bet on which faction I think was going to take out the entire event, I think it would be Drukhari, or at least a Drukhari mix of some kind.
Exciting. Okay, well, we will find out next weekend. Sunday night will be where we'll find out. So please do join us for that. It's going to be really, really exciting if you are 40k interested. And also anyone else in the world who you think might be interested in listening to that. That's going to be quite important. As many people watching will make it as exciting as possible. So make sure you let people know. Make sure you let people tune in. Thank you to Nergal Matthew for donating 50 gift subscriptions. Holy crap.
Absolute beast.
Mainly for Tom's spicy takes, I think.
You want to deploy more spice?
Wow.
That's very kind of you.
That's so nice of you, Nurgle Matthew. Thank you, brother. I hope you're well. Yes, he's done it for the spicy takes. So, Nurgle Matthew, we're going to absolutely love next week then.
I will just say, Rob, before we go, my army will, a lot of my models will be on the tabletop
somewhere out there in the LGT.
They'll be playing via a proxy, and I think my proxy could do very, very well this event.
Okay, that's exciting.
I'm not going to say what he's taking because I don't want to
ruin it.
If you find my Dread Knights, you'll know him. Okay.
Incredible. Nurgle Matthew, again, thank you for being an absolute treasure. Brilliant. Expect more info. We're basically going to spend the next week trying to create graphics, interstitials, and other stuff for this event. So. Just get excited and get hype. It's going to be really fun. Tom, thanks for going through.
I'm actually kind of looking forward to going through and researching, like getting all my facts ready and get some good talking points to go for the LGT next week. It's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it.
Me too, brother. Listen, thanks everyone in the chat for being awesome. You're all wonderful people. It's been super cool talking to you. Look for us next week. We might do a road trip, 40k Spice Center, behind the scenes. The Honest Wargamer is the behind the scenes of the T Sports Network. So this is where you're going to see the behind the scenes spice. So the week after the LGT will be interesting, Tom, when we get to do the behind the scenes gossip, right?
There always is. After any big event, there's always something that's gone on, especially with 800 people in a room.
It's going to be very, very exciting. You're all wonderful. Thanks for tuning in. Tom, thanks for being great. We'll see you guys soon, and everyone have a great day. Thanks for being Honest Wargamers.